So we have a total of 4 plants nationwide. Two of them are here in Oklahoma City. We have about 2,000 employees nationwide. More than half of those are in the state of Oklahoma. The plant here in Oklahoma City employs about 750 employees, and the plant in Ponca City, another 700 employees. We make hamburgers, sausage patties here in Oklahoma City, and in Ponca City, we make chicken nuggets, McChicken, and various products for Tyson retail. We not only supply here in the U.S., but we supply in Asia, Hong Kong, Korea, Japan, and Vietnam. Vietnam is a new customer. We also supply all of Central America and the Caribbean on sausage patties and some on beef patties as well. And we supply Mexico with breakfast sausage products. Most of the products are through McDonald's, but we do have other customers in those countries, mostly retail customers, such as Walmart. Sure, here in the States, we supply Starbucks, we supply Burger King, we have in the past supplied Costco and Walmart, uh, and um, and of course Tyson is a big customer and a partner up in Ponca City.
My grandparents come from Chihuahua, Mexico. Um, they my great-grandparents were from there. My grandparents were born there but moved to the United States. They moved to Phoenix. Well, they moved to LA first and Los Angeles and then moved to Phoenix and settled in Phoenix. Um, and there's a interesting story of how my grandpa met my grandma, but again, all focused on the farming community back in Phoenix and in the I guess I would be in the 40s and 50s, maybe even the 30s. But yeah, they were very heavily involved in the farming community. Met, got married, started having children. Um, Wanted a better life, like we all do. We want more for our children. They wanted to get out of the fields and provide education for my dad and his brothers. So they started working in other jobs. My grandfather started working at a grocery store and learned how to become a butcher within that small grocery store. And about 10 years after starting there, he bought a grocery store. So not only was he a butcher, but he was learning the ins and outs of actually running the business. And then he and my grandmother bought that uh, grocery store. And so then that's when my dad and my uncles would start working at the grocery store, doing the basics, but important aspects of it, sweeping the floors, stocking the shelves, um, you know, having the store ready to sell goods to the community. The other thing about my dad working there is that he worked at the cash register, and back then it was an honor system within the grocery community. But my grandpa would let customers come in and get groceries, but they wouldn't have to pay for it right then. And so they would keep a record, they would keep a ledger of what they owed, and then they would pay at the end of the week. And that helped them with their jobs and earn the money to be able to pay. It was very much an honorable thing within the community because it was a small local grocery store. So that's when my dad started getting into the financing, the accounting side of things, and that's what really inspired him to pursue that more of a direction in terms of a career path for himself. So my dad wanted so the very most important thing from a family first perspective was the boys had to go to college. So my dad and my uncles, they had to go to college. Well, my my oldest brother, my uncle Vic, he became a teacher. He went to the military as well. There's a very heavy military presence as well within my dad's side of the family, which is so honorable and really, really great. And then the younger uncle, um, also was going to pursue somewhat of a teaching career and all that. But my dad he had that entrepreneurial spirit, and he really wanted to go down a different career path. He met my mom, got married, and they had a baby on the way, which was my oldest sister, Kathy. Um, he quickly realized that, he needed to provide for his own family, and he really wanted to get involved in finance, accounting, banking per se. So he dropped out of college and started working at a local bank. And he got promoted. He did well for himself. He got promoted and worked his way up. And he had a mentor of his that really wanted him to come assist in terms of economic development for diversity and minorities, it, in particularly the Latino community at that time in Phoenix. So he asked my dad to join him with the National Council of La Raza um, in Phoenix, but they were spending a lot of their time in Washington, D.C. For a variety of reasons, mainly to obtain funding so that they could provide these economic opportunities for diversity, minorities, Hispanic, and Latinos at that time. But the really great thing is that it expanded beyond Phoenix. It was Arizona, Texas, I think Colorado. It was a 5-state region, New Mexico. So they would go around the country helping entrepreneurial individuals, whether it was families or men or women, get the funding so they could start these businesses. From there, it only got bigger. They were working with the Southwest Council of La Raza to the National Council of La Raza. And from there, that's when he started finding out about the opportunities within McDonald's, because he was helping other folks get funding to become franchisees. And in the back of his head, he said, I like that idea. I could do that. And he would travel to McDonald's corporate headquarters quite a bit with these other candidates. And as he engaged with McDonald's at the corporate level, they actually fell in love with my dad and offered him a job. And he felt that would be an interesting opportunity. He didn't want to relocate to Chicago with 5 children at that time. They were young. We were young. But he said, I am interested in this franchisee opportunity. So if something comes up, keep me in mind. And about maybe a year and a half later, they finally called him and said, are you still interested? And he said, yes.
So John Lopez originally was a McDonald's owner operator in East LA. And then McDonald's chose him to be a supplier, and so I had known John when he was an operator. And on back, and John, Patrick, and Dave will tell you the story about how John Senior got involved with McDonald's and then Lopez Foods here in Oklahoma City.
When my dad finally had the contact with McDonald's and was granted to be a McDonald's franchisee and move his family to California from Arizona, I know that, they basically went into some serious debt, put everything on the line to start this new business and this new opportunity for him and his family. And funny story is they found a spot downtown Los Angeles in the Central Market district where, they had this big market, and it's actually revitalized today, and it's just an awesome spot. But the restaurant there, they had to tear down an existing building and rebuild the foundation for a McDonald's restaurant. And so they got in ready to get things moving so they could start the business and start making money. And the foundation of the building was unstable. There was some issues with everything below ground, and so they had to put the whole project on pause, which was not in the cards. It was not part of the plan. And so put a big delay on everything by probably several months, probably almost a year plus. And so my dad needed to do something. So McDonald's was able to work with my dad, and he became somewhat of a consultant working with other owner-operators in the area. And I think that's how he became well-known in the McDonald's world, because he knew all these different people and got some different experiences other than what he expected. So he took lemons and made lemonade. And that really is the entrepreneurial spirit of my dad. And I think that's really what helped him along his journey with McDonald's and within his own personal career. And then that was just a fun story I thought you'd want to hear.
I know that my parents were part of the first group of 10 Latino franchisees in the country at that time. So they were definitely pioneers on the Hispanic Latino side of franchising for McDonald's Corporation. So when the opportunity was presented, so then he had to go through training. Both my parents went through training to become franchisees. There are courses that you have to take to learn how to run and operate a McDonald's restaurant. They have basic operations course, advanced operations course. This is all done through Hamburger University. It is a real college. It is a real campus that every franchisee has to go through, and that is it is in Chicago. Ed Sanchez has been through that. I have been through that. My brother has been through that. All my sisters have been through that, and their husbands. So it's a very intense course, but it's a wonderful teaching opportunity from a business perspective. Once they finish that and checked that box, then McDonald's says, okay, here are the locations in which we would like for you to consider going to. So even though they lived in Phoenix, their opportunity was not there. And I think franchisees have an opportunity. You can turn down an offer based on location maybe 1 or 2 times. They offered my parents Los Angeles, and not only Los Angeles, but downtown Los Angeles, right in the heart of the city. They jumped at it. This incredible opportunity. It was sad to leave Phoenix. We had a lot of family there, grandparents on both sides, aunts, uncles, cousins, so it was difficult, but they're risk takers. My parents, they saw this opportunity. This was a lightning in a bottle type of a moment, and they went for it. Yeah, so that was their first store, and obviously the success of that store led to 3 more restaurants downtown LA, and they were all extremely successful restaurants. But downtown LA at that time, so it wasn't the urban location of choice for a lot of people. LA at that time, you would come to work in downtown LA, and then you would leave it. And then at night, it wasn't safe. It was some kind of transients and stuff like that. So it wasn't safe. My dad was concerned about the safety of his employees. He was concerned about the safety of his family members that were working there. And he always thought, you know what, I can still do this, but I might think about relocating to another part of California or another state, just for a variety of reasons, but always going to be within McDonald's. Lo and behold, he gets a phone call from someone in supply chain of McDonald's and said, Mr. Lopez, we might have an opportunity that you should at least look at. And it's in Oklahoma. And there's a long story behind how that opportunity came up, if you want to go into that a bit. So there was a meat manufacturing facility for McDonald's already here in Oklahoma. That company was called Anderson Meats and Provisions, which was a subsidiary of Wilson. Wilson, everyone knows Wilson footballs, Wilson basketballs, Wilson tennis. You see that brand name everywhere. Well, that's what they're known for, but they were really they're a food company, but they would use the hides from the animals to make all these other products. So no one really knows about the mainstream public doesn't know about Wilson, the meat company. They know Wilson, the athletic company. Anyway, this facility, Anderson Meats and Provisions, and by extension, I do believe Wilson, but I could be wrong, was involved in a hostile takeover by another company called Daskasil. And Daskasil was successful in this hostile takeover. For this facility, Daskasil went to McDonald's and said, "Hi, we're your new supplier." And McDonald's said, "No, you're not. Our business isn't for sale." And they pulled all the business immediately. So obviously they realized that opportunity wasn't going to work and they needed to do something at least with this facility. So McDonald's bought it from them and said, now we need to find a new owner. Who should it be and why? And someone came up with the idea, why don't we have a franchisee become a supplier? At that time, it had never been done before. But that's an interesting concept. Well, then who? Why don't we get some more diversity into supply chain? That sounds great. Well, who? African American, Asian, female, Hispanic. We need more Hispanic. Okay, well, who? So then they interview people across the country: Miami, New York, Texas, Chicago, LA, Phoenix, all over the country and the main hubs, the large cities. And when it was all said and done, they selected my parents. So another capturing lightning in a bottle moment. This, you just can't pass it up. So they said, please come consider this. Don't say no, but don't say yes. Come look at the business. Let us show you the plan. Let us talk about what this could become. And then we'll go from there. And once he came and saw, looked over the business model from a business standpoint, looked at the P&Ls, making sure this would be a successful business. And part of the deal was to build a brand new state-of-the-art facility, which was really, really big because the other facility, it's a great facility, but it was old. And McDonald's was looking not only to improve upon the existing operation, but prepare itself for future growth. So this new facility, as part of the deal, that's what sold it. So that was about 1989, 1990 when that was happening. They made the decision to officially sell their stores in Los Angeles, buy this company in 1990, broke ground in 1991, and it officially opened in 1992. So technically, we moved to Oklahoma in 1991, and we've been here ever since. So I went to the University of Southern California, and I was there at the time when my parents were moving to Oklahoma, is when I was actually in college, started in 1990 and graduated in 1994. So I did get a business degree through the Marshall School of Business, and my emphasis was distribution management. And at the time, logistical analysis and efficiencies surrounding logistics it existed, but there really weren't a lot of programs that helped develop and teach why it's important, what are the best ways to handle it, and all that. When I saw what we were getting into, obviously we have to manufacture it, then we have to ship it to distribution centers, and then from there it has to be shipped to restaurants or put on boats to go, to all over the world. So I felt that would be an enhancement to this opportunity. The best thing I think that my parents did for both my brother and I is that when my dad said, if you want to come work at Lopez Foods, first and foremost, you need to go work someplace else first to get some experience. But we can help tailor that experience so that it fits coming to work at Lopez Foods. But the second thing is, you're going to start at the very bottom of the totem pole, and you are going to have to work your way up, and you're going to have to work twice as hard as everyone else, and you're going to have to earn it. Nothing will be given to you. There's no entitlement. So if this doesn't interest you, then you need to find another career path. But obviously that's what we did. And that was the best thing. It was the best thing ever. you know, not only was it hard being the owner's son on the production floor, um, but there's a trust issue. They think we were going to run to dad if there is an issue here or there and all that. So we work very hard to not only carry our own weight, but work as hard or harder than anyone else. And eventually you earn that respect. That's Dave and I are very humble, and we don't, there's no entitlement. There's no, you know, our name's on the building type of talk. Um, we want what's best for the company. We want what's best for our employees. And so the degree helped. The business degree definitely helped once we got into the more, what I would say, office positions, and especially now management and executive level. But there's nothing like being able to talk the walk, because we've been there, we've done it. We've worked second shift, we've worked third shift. We've done every single job out there. And so that extends to all our facilities, all four of them. We can talk shop, and that's great.
So currently, I'm heading up our non-McDonald's sales. I also head up our McDonald's business unit, MBU, on the pork side. So I'm constantly looking at initiatives that involve pork. So whether it's it depends on which customer I'm working with, but my day can be extremely busy with several projects going on at the same time, juggling various initiatives and programs. I also work with the international markets that we serve, so Japan, Hong Kong, Latin America. And so depending on initiatives that they have that are being worked on, I'll, dive into those appropriately, which could mean interesting hours. I could be up at, at a conference call 6, 7 o'clock at night, or try to get up early at the end of their day because we're on different sides of the planet. But yeah, my typical day is pretty busy, pretty involved. Um, Obviously working, like I mentioned, we have a great team. So there's a lot of information that I need to pull from other sources, whether it's our product innovation team, quality assurance team, obviously the production side for requests from our customers. So I work closely with a lot of the team members throughout the facility and all the facilities, and that's a big part of my day as well.
Yeah, I got into working for McDonald's as trying to help supplement the family budget, and I was 16 years old, and I applied there, and then they had a position open, and it was cleaning tables and the bathrooms and that kind of stuff, and that's how I got my career started at McDonald's. So I got to open up a lot of the Latin American countries, expand Canada further than it was at that time, and I had about four to 5,000 restaurants under my leadership. So I'm chairman of the board of directors for Lopez Foods. I just stepped down as a CEO, and our new CEO is Pancho Gonzalez.
Obviously, we employ quite a bit of people here in Oklahoma City, and that number has grown not only here in Oklahoma City, but also in Ponca. I think we're one of the largest employers in Ponca at this point. But so employment obviously is a big a piece of what our company has brought to Oklahoma. I know that we try to be as involved as possible from a charitable standpoint, and we have, we just don't give money away freely. We have a mission, we have a vision. It's surrounded around family well-being, health, education, athletics. So we really do try to pinpoint the charitable groups that we support, and we have a pretty hefty budget that we have to manage as a charitable committee, which I'm on, and it's very important to us. So we try to help where the help is needed. We're certainly trying to focus in on areas that support culture and diversity, whether it's the Latino Community Development Agency. The Urban League's been a great group that we've just started to support. And those are just a handful of the groups we support. The only problem is we get a lot of calls, and unfortunately, we can't help everybody, but we certainly do our best to do what we can for our community, because we see the importance of investing in your community for the greater good of what's to come.
Because diversity was so important to everything we've come from and what we're about. And that's what McDonald's wanted as well. But more importantly, it's what my father wanted, it's what my parents wanted, and that's, I think, has been one of the best legacies from a diversity standpoint in Oklahoma City that my parents left. We're almost 50-50, male, female now. Back then, when we bought the company, it was probably 85-15. So that's a huge win. Now we're extremely diverse, African American, heavy, large Asian community, Chinese, Philippine, Vietnamese, and then of course Hispanic, and Latino. You can break that down in a variety of ways. We have Puerto Ricans, we have Mexicans, we have a lot of Central American and South American. We have Afro Latinos. So it's a great melting pot, and everybody is now such a family. You should see the potluck lunches that we serve. It's homemade egg rolls combined with tamales, and it's really fun. That's what I miss the most about working at the plant was, if we were celebrating someone having a baby, or if we're celebrating an anniversary or a birthday, we would just bring these huge potlucks. It's a lot of fun. That is starting to happen in Ponca City as well. The diversity, it's not an agenda, it's just the culture of who we are. It's getting much, much better in Ponca City as well. We're trying to invest in ways that not only is meaningful to communities, but the communities in which our employees live. So although our heart is first and foremost is with the Hispanic and the Latino community, we really want to make sure we're promoting all diversity, because I think that, the rising tide lifts all ships, and it's important for everybody to see Lopez Foods as a supporter from that perspective.
You need to know a little bit about the business, but you can't know everything. So you have to have the right people involved around you. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. We have a great team. And so I may not have all the answers when questions presented to me, but I know exactly where to go to get the right answer. And whether it's a quality answer, a safety answer, a mechanical, a technical answer, I know that there's the right people to get me the right answer, whatever the initiative is. And that applies to my world or running a business. So getting the right people involved is important. Always ask questions. I would highly recommend having a strong mentor, because the guidance that you get from somebody who's had that experience and has kicked the tires, you can learn a lot from them. And more than likely, someone is willing to share their knowledge, their wealth of knowledge with you if they know it's going to make a difference in your world and make you successful. It's sort of paying it back, sort of paying it forward.
Dream big. Go for it. Set something that you think, set a goal that you think is unattainable. And through hard work, through networking, through finding a wonderful mentor who can help you navigate the hows and the whys and the whens, I would just say go for it, because that's what my parents did. That's what we're doing. Even though this business has become successful, we still have aspirational goals of, whether it's, buying another company or building another facility or getting another specific customer. That's hard work. You have to market yourself. You have to develop your reputation. You have to invest back into your company to be successful. So we're still dreaming big. We're still shooting for the stars. But anyone can do this. Anyone can get into business today, depending on what your passions are, your dreams, an interest, or a community need, whether it's a civil service or anything.
Living in Oklahoma City for the last 20 years, it's the smallest city we've ever lived in, so we had to adapt a bit. But it's a great place to raise a family, and it's a great place from a business environment. So, we were very surprised by it, and especially these last 10 years with just the growth with the whole Millennium Park area and the convention center and the amount of ethnic restaurants that you've seen throughout the city is great to see.
I want to be remembered as somebody who has helped the manufacturing sector within the state of Oklahoma grow. I am a big believer in the agriculture sector. Um, I think agriculture for me is one of the things that the community takes for granted. And I know because I used to be on the other side of this. And without a future for agriculture in our country, the things that you and I take for granted every day um, will go away. It puts it at serious jeopardy. There's a real need for the next generation of agriculture in our country, and I'm a big ambassador for that in the state of Oklahoma. We partner with Oklahoma State University. I'm on several boards and committees there so that students find out about and want to be a part of agriculture. And I try and bring that knowledge to our state and um, city and state leaders. So, the governor, the lieutenant governor, secretary of commerce, secretary of agriculture, as well as mayors and all that, because they need to get behind agriculture in the state. Um, it's at risk and we need to protect it. So I am a big ambassador for that. I do want to be remembered as somebody who helped um, further that in the state of Oklahoma. Um, I'd like to also be remembered as somebody who helped give back to the community, just like my parents and just like my grandparents, because we are instilling that now on my children. My wife and I are very, very involved on a personal side, not from a business standpoint. And we want our children to understand the importance of that. If I do that, then I'm just continuing the legacy left by my parents. I think what the Oklahoma Historical Society is doing in terms of documenting the the advancement and growth of diversity within the state of Oklahoma, let alone Hispanics and Latinos, um, I think that's a wonderful. Um, what you've done so far is a wonderful thing for the state because all states go through this. All states go through these growth spurts, but to understand how important um, the Hispanic and Latino communities are to the financial strength of a city or a state, the jobs that they work in, they're hard workers and they're committed and they will be loyal if there's respect and if you treat them like you would want to be treated yourself. We're not different. We're the same. But we have differences, and that's okay. And we're proud of that. And so I just commend the Oklahoma Historical Society for documenting the growth of Hispanics and Latinos in the state, but also all diversity within the state of Oklahoma. It's great.